And I do want to make sure that you can hear me. And so if you cannot hear me, please make sure that you shoot a question in the question box. We're using new software this time, so I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me and we're doing a good job. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to share my screen with you. And it should be coming up. And we've got a couple other people jumping off on. Welcome, welcome. I just want to quickly thank you all for coming and go through a few housekeeping items. First of all, this is a complete overview of the entire IQ Office system. And so it is going to go fairly fast today. The goal is that you get a really good overview of what the system can do. It is being recorded and it will be posted on Facebook and YouTube after this. And I will also email you all out a link. The goal is that you see the entire overview of the system and then you put on your calendars a time to go back in and really work through the system. And we'll break each of these things down a little bit further in future webinars. And you're always more than welcome to ask questions about how to do something on our Facebook page. And we want to help you use the software to grow your business. So that being said, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and just jump into all the training. So once you're logged in to your IQ Office, you're actually going to see a screen that looks a lot like this. I'm going to act, this is a demo account, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to act as an agent so that we actually have some contacts and listings and things to do. So when you log in, I just want to go through the dashboard really quickly. You're going to see 3 shortcuts at the top of your screen: your contacts and leads, your messaging, and your listings. Underneath that, these all click through to the main dashboard for those things. Underneath that, you'll see your favorite contacts, and this way you can easily edit, log a call, log a text, or email a contact. And below that, you will see recent contact activities. So if you have contacts in the system who have gone in and done something and it's recent, it will show you what they did and when they did it. So I can see that Rick Reed on March 8th of last year viewed a property. If I open up his contact, I can go in and I can actually go into the property watch and I can see if he's done a portal. I can go in the details, and underneath his action score, I can see here what's happened. So we're going to get a little bit further into that down the road. And then on the right-hand side, underneath your to-do list, you'll see the action items that you have for leads and contacts. So you can assign action plans to your leads and your contacts to create a to-do action list for yourself so you know when you're following up with people. We're also going to get into this. There is a second tab on your main screen called the company dashboard. And from here, you can see your contacts and leads, any new messages that you have, any actions that are due or coming up for your contacts and leads, and all your listings. You also can see new documents that your company is sharing. You can see new and reduced properties. You can see your website statistics and your company calendar. So your company website is really an overview of everything that's happening in the company. Your personal website is where you're going to go and you get a quick snapshot of what you've got to do. If you have never logged into the system before, the place you want to start is going up to your name in the upper right-hand corner and going down to your profile. When you do this, you're going to see your active profile, things like your name, your address, your email, your phone. On the right-hand side, you can actually link your social media. And to do that, you would just go to your Facebook page and you would go ahead, you would just copy, which is Control-C in the upper right-hand corner, and then you would take Control-V and you would paste that into that link. Same thing for Twitter, your blog, if you have a YouTube channel, all of that. If you're making changes in this screen, please make sure you're periodically hitting save so that you don't lose your changes. I want to make sure there's nothing in the whole world that is more frustrating than actually going in, doing a whole bunch of changes, and then not saving them. So as you scroll down, you're also going to see in images. So your first image in line will be the image that always shows on your company website as well as your profile page. And so you can upload a photo just by clicking upload. You can drag and drop a photo, or you can click add files. And you can just go in and you could actually just say, hey, this is the photo I want to upload. And it's automatically going to insert that photo here. There it is. I close out here. And to rearrange the photos, I just simply drag and drop. It's that easy. I also can edit the photo if I want. So I can say, hey, this description is spring 2018. I can do that. I also can delete the photo. So I can say, hey, I actually don't want that photo here anymore. I want to delete it out. As you scroll down further, there are 2 sections you do really need to know, 3 sections really. And the first is profile. So you can have a video profile attached to your profile. You just copy and paste that link of where that video is being hosted. If it's being hosted on BombBomb or YouTube or Vimeo, you just copy and paste the URL of where it's being hosted here. And then your profile text. So you're actually going to go in and you're going to type your profile text. And this is going to be your about you that shows on your company page and on your profile page. And the next section underneath that is your email signature. So typing your email signature so that people actually have a signature when you're sending messages out is really important. A quick note on that, if you're using a JPEG, make sure that the phone number and your email are clickable. There's nothing more frustrating than getting an email from someone and not being able to click on their phone number and their signature to call them. Most of what we do these days is on your hand in front of you. And so it is really important that you are going in and people can actually click on your phone number. So that's everything in this first screen. The next section is your preferences. This is how you're going to set up your lead notification preferences. It's also how you choose your default property flyer. So you can actually go in, you can choose your default flyer by clicking the magnifying glass. And you can say, hey, my default property flyer is going to be this on the market green. You also can choose your default action plan. So if you have a new listing, you can choose your default new listing action plan, your just reduced listing action plan, your new lead action plan. And if you want to blanket across all your existing leads, you can put a new lead existing action plan in there. I do want to show you quickly what that looks like because there is a really, really cool thing that's happening. And that is, I have to find it. Here it is. That is that you are getting an email when you list a property now that actually goes in and it says, here, let me share material. That actually says, hey, congratulations, you have a new listing. Here is everything that's happening. So, and you can go in and you can actually automatically save something. You can automatically, I'm going to have to email it out to all of you because that's going to make me, oh, here we go, save as. Yep, I'm going to have to email it out because it won't let me upload a ping. We're using new software today, so it's always the first time you try to do something, it's different. But what it says is it says, congratulations, agent, your new listing is active. Here's the listing details. You can easily share it to social media from there. You can customize or edit a flyer from there. You also can create and customize postcards from there. So we're working really hard to make sure that when you list a property, you're getting a notification that makes it really, really easy to actually go in and promote your listing. And if you set your default flyer, then it's going to choose that default flyer when it creates the flyer for you. You can choose your marketing notifications, which are if you order postcards through the system, do you want to be notified when things are mailed, if they're nearby, or if they're delivered? If you're working on a team, you can assign your leads to someone else. And the last thing I want to show you underneath this preferences is that on your Zillow, you can actually link your Zillow testimonials to your website. It's automatically going to look at your detail page for your email address. So it's automatically going to look here for this email address. And if you are not using that email address, all you need to do is make sure that you paste the email address you have on your Zillow account here so that it knows how to go out and look. If you're using Real Satisfied, which is an online automated survey system, you can also link your Real Satisfied testimonials to your website by putting your vanity key here. Again, make sure that you click save after you do those things so that you can go in and actually save your progress. The next thing I want to go through is your goals. So how many of you have actually gone in and set your goals for 2019? I hope a lot of you. I think I can do a poll. So you can actually go in and you should be able to start the poll and see. So have you set your goals for 2019? So some of you have and some of you haven't. It's about 50-50. So what this screen does is it makes it really easy to set your goals. So you can actually go in here and type in what you think your costs are. So if you say, hey, my living expenses in a year are $26,000. That's my mortgage and my heating bills and my food and whatever it is. And I plan on making, I want in my pocket for my commission earnings after all my fees and all of that, I want to make, let's say $75,000. That means that my GCI before expenses needs to be about, let's call it 125, because you're a stellar agent who controls their expenses really well. And the average price in my market is $262,000. The average commission rate per side is 2.98. Most MLSs will publish what that is. And then you go in and you say, hey, this is how many listings I sell as a percent of my sales. This is how many new listings I take and I sell. This is how many buyers I close. This is my fallout ratio. And you click recalculate in the upper right-hand corner. And it's actually going to tell you, okay, so your average GCI per sale is 7,800. Your total sales closed that you need to do are going to be 16. You need to do 8 listings. You need to take 20 listings, you need to close 10 buyers, and you need to be working with 13 buyers. So you can actually go in and start to really figure out how many different people you need to be working with and how close are you getting to actually going in and creating a business that works. So underneath that's everything I'm going to show you underneath your profile. The next thing I really want to talk about is going in and managing your contacts and leads, because at the heart of what IQ is, it is really a customer relationship platform that's meant to be able to do everything in one place. So you can actually go into your contacts and leads by clicking the quick link at the top of your screen, and you can see all of your people here. You also can go in, if you haven't been using it, you can use an import contacts. So if you have a CSV file, which is a type of Excel sheet, you can import your contacts. You can always export your contacts out of IQ, and you can purge your contacts, which means you're deleting them all. This manage contact types is a way for you to categorize your contacts. So I can actually go in and I can create different types of contacts. So I can say past employee, add. I can say luxury buyer, add. And then what happens is when you're in working with your contacts, you can tag your contacts with that contact type, which makes it easier to add them to drip marketing campaigns and contact plans and things like that. That's coming soon. That's coming shortly down the road here. So don't panic if you don't know what I mean by that. I also want to make sure if you all have any questions, please feel free to ask them in that question box. I want to make sure that we're answering your questions as we go along. So as I go in, I can actually click on a contact, and that's going to be the first thing that we do. So when you click on a contact, it opens up from the right-hand side that contact information. You can add lead information. So if you met this contact at a school fundraiser, you can actually add that as the source of the contact. You also can add a status. So your status types that are available to you depend on what your company has available. So I can actually go in and I can say that this is a new status and follow up. You can say follow up with information about the area. Just moved here. And I can click save. And now I have that new status. I also can add contact types. So when we went through the customer relations, manage contact types, I actually can then, this is where I actually tag that person. So I can say, hey, this is a prospect and they are a buyer and they also are a lender and they are a renter. I can add as many contact types as I would like. If I want to manually add a follow-up date for a specific day, I can use this schedule follow-up day button. And that says, hey, follow up with Dave Smith. I can add my notes. I can choose the day. So I can say, hey, I told him I would call him before the end of the month. And I'm going to do that at 9:45 a.m. and I'm going to click save. I'm going to show you where you can access those in just one moment. Don't panic. We're getting there. I can also add individual notes here. I can add them to email campaigns that I've created here. I have, if they're working with a lender, I've added this category and we're going to show you how to do that as well. I can add their lender information here, but notice everything on the left-hand side: email address, cell phone, company name, significant other or children's name. I can put that all here. If you want to create a property watch, this is where you do it. And many of you are using your MLS for a property watch. So Sharon, I would just follow along. You're going to ask your office admin what your login information is. So how many of you are using your MLS for property watches? I'm going to start a poll right now for you guys so you can share that. So here it is, MLS Property Watch, votes, show results. So look, so most people are using their MLS. Oh, someone's using something else. And that's awesome. The problem with just using your MLS is you don't have access to really compile all that information into one place. So you get notifications when they read your MLS email, but are they reading your drip campaigns? Are they actually opening emails from you? Are they logging into their portal and having activity? Can you log your phone calls and your text messages to them? So the goal of IQ Office is that you can do and see all that in one place. So I'm going to actually open up a different contact so that you can see what that looks like. So I can actually scroll down and I can see my activities score here. So how many properties have they saved? How many portal logins have they had? How many times have they gone to my website? How many website searches have they done? How many viewed properties have they had? And this becomes a way to track the activity of your clients as a whole. So you're not just going in and saying, okay, well, they opened my email in MLS, and then it looks like they opened an email in an email campaign that I sent out. Oh, and I sent them a text message on my phone, or I sent them an email separately, and it looks like they read that. You can actually use the system to go in and compile it all into one place. So you get an accurate information about what they're doing. To start that, you have to create a portal for them. So you put in their user ID and you put in their password. Nobody can ever remember their user IDs and passwords. It's the hardest thing, I think, for all of us to do, is to keep track of what you use to log in where. So please be systematic when you're setting this up for your client. I suggest making their username either their first and last name or their email address, or something that when they call you and you're in the middle of a showing, you can say, hey, Joe Smith, awesome. I'm so glad to hear from you, and you want to log into your portal. Your user ID is actually your email address, and your password is your cell phone number. Or your user ID is your first and last name, and your password is your wife's name. But make it the same for everyone so that you have a systematic answer. Typically, an email address and a phone number are things that people will always remember, and so it's really easy for them to organize that. Once you do that, you can use this Property Watch tab. And you can actually go in and create a property watch. You name the watch and choose whether you want email updates to go out, yes or no. You also can say, I want emails to go out on status changes for reduced prices or open house, or only for status changes. You choose what that is. The other nice thing that happens is you can always say, there's a lot of you that are in markets that have multiple MLSs. And the other problem with that is setting up a property watch in each MLS makes it so that your contacts get like 12 different emails in a night, or emails in a day, or so you're getting one from this MLS and one from this MLS and one from this MLS and one from this MLS. And it's really hard for a consumer to process all that data, and eventually they'll just stop reading if it's not valuable information. So if your IQ office is pulling from multiple MLSs, you can actually compile that into one email from you. These are going to go out. So if I say, I'm going to just go back to this main screen. Underneath that portal, I can say, hey, I want to send Email Watch just once a day. If I say on MLS change, anytime something changes in the MLS, it's going to change. So Tammy, you asked how do I do it so I'm not sending a ton of emails out at all hours of the night. You can say, hey, I just want to send this once a day, and it's just going to send once. So then I'm going to set the property watch. And I'm going to say, I only want status changes. I want residential. My client's price range is between $290 and $310. And then notice down here, it says records max of, you can only have 100 properties match. So you go through much like you would in MLS. What's the price range? What's the style? What's the type? Do they want short sale, foreclosure, or resale? If you don't check any of these boxes, it's going to show new construction. What size? How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? What's the square feet? Do you need a view? What year? What property status? Maybe they need to live on a specific street. Maybe the description needs to say main floor master. How do you want the location to show? On a map or on a list? Only in a certain state, only in a certain county, only in a certain city. You choose all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and broaden this search just so I can show you a little bit more. Oh, it's going to make me do that. So when you click next, so I'm in a demo account, and if everything worked all the time, it would just be way too easy. I will take this moment to just share with you, the only people that are not frustrated with technology are the people who are not using it. So if you're using it and you're frustrated, good job, you're doing it right. If you're not, then you're not. It's not going to let me go to the next screen. So on the next screen, what it's going to show you is a list that says you want to send individual properties, so you can filter through and just send certain properties. You can go through and you can send all properties, or you can send, say, do not send at this time. You also can see statistics for the watch. So this person has viewed 26 properties. They've been emailed 24 24, I can view the ones that they've mailed. I can see the ones that they've saved or removed. And then I can go down here. And if I know that a new listing has come on the market that they are going to really like, I can actually go ahead and say, add this to their list. And it goes and it saves the property to their portal for them. So you're able to go in and actually interact with the client. So what falls under status change are things like active, depending if your MLS sends them out. If your MLS sends out closed, it will show them as deleted. Price changes, anything that's changing this status of is it active, pending, canceled, whatever that status is, or a price change. Does that answer your question, Tammy? Tara, IQ Office is feeding directly from MLS. And for your other question, that's a question for your office administrator or your manager, because there's multiple companies on the call. So it depends on how your office is set up. So that's a little bit about property watches. The next thing I want to go through are action plans. And this is a way that you can actually go in and follow up with your client. So you can set manual follow-up dates here, which would mean that you would have to go into every contact frequently and be setting specific dates. You can also set action plans. And what this does is it creates a way for you to create some kind of an interval follow-up type for the client type. So if it's a buyer or a past client or whatever it is, I can see that this client is assigned to 3 action plans. So you can add a whole bunch of action plans. Anything that is crossed out on here are things that have been completed. Anything that is red is an action that is past due. And anything that is blue is something that's coming up. So I can actually scroll through in each action plan and see what's happening. Here it all is. To add someone to an action plan, you just click add, and then you can go in and you can choose the action plan that you want them to go on. If you decide you don't want them on that action plan, you just hit the delete next to the action plan, and then it takes them off. If there are actions that are completed under that action plan, it will still show them right here. So know that. I also can filter my actions by just what's due in the next 7 days. You do not have to go into each individual client to see the action plans. What will happen is on your main dashboard underneath that to-do list, it shows either today, 7 days, or 14 days what you have going on. You can complete these actions right from this screen. So I can click done. I can say email, and I can say shot Kelsey an email about winter home improvement and asked for a coffee meeting. And then I can click save. The system's automatically going to ask you, when do you want to follow up next? Do I want to follow up tomorrow or in 2 days or a week or in a year and 6 months? Or I can say, I really don't want to do this right now. I'm going to say I want to do that later, and it's going to clear that action out of my to-do list. So that's how you go in and you can actually use the action plan to gauge what you need to do in any day. Tina, I'm coming to your question. And Tara, you actually set those email alerts. So what you have to do, you can log into your dashboard. I highly recommend that you are logging in at least 3 times a week. This is where you're talking to your people. This is where you're systematically figuring out, who do I need to contact? What do I need to do? I can contact them. I can see what they've seen. And if you're not doing that 3 times a week for 30 minutes a day, you're going to miss things. So this becomes a place for you to track it. There was a question on how do I set up alerts for that. You can actually go into your profile and into preferences, and that's one of the tasks. So I want new tasks by email or new tasks by text. So the system can either email or text you when you have something that's coming up. And you choose how that happens. The next section of this, and so that's your contacts and leads. That directly filters into action plans. But to get to action plans, which are here, we're going to jump into the marketing realm first, because there's some things that you need to understand in the marketing tab before we can get to action tabs. And the first thing that we're going to do is you can go in and you can create content. So I can go in and I can create print or email content. I also can go to my saved content, which opens up the main content dashboard. From here, I can add new content by clicking this button in the upper right-hand corner. And then I have the option to choose my content. There are a ton of templates in here. Your company also has the option to add templates in here. You go in company templates. I go in, I can say, hey, I actually really would like a template that is blank, all my own content. Or I want to do a property flyer just or a relocation letter. You choose the type of contact it is. There is a question that said, if I'm going to send out a CMA for my list, my sphere of influence list, could you do it here? And yes, you absolutely could, Tina. I'm going to get exactly on how you could do that. There's some pretty cool ways that you could do it. You guys are asking great questions. So I do want to make sure that I'm getting them all answered. If I haven't answered your question, I will come back to it. So I'm actually going to go in. I'm going to choose this blank content. I'm going to name my content. I'm going to name it Winter Update. Hope you are surviving the cold. And I'm going to add a category name. And then I can upload a photo. So anytime you see that mountain photo, that is where you can upload a photo. So you can go to your uploaded in the past. You can upload your own images. You can do whatever you'd like. So I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to do this market update photo and save. And it's going to automatically insert it in here. And then I'm going to write a little letter. So I can say, hey, anytime up here where it says add to text, I can say, hey, contact name, hope all is well. New year. Wanted to share CMA information with you or market update information with you. You can either type it here or you can hyperlink it. So we're going to get to this hyperlink situation in just a moment. I'm going to come back to it because I want to finish doing this, but there's another really cool feature that I really like, especially when it comes to downloadable content. So, hey, I want to email out a PDF, but a lot of spam filters don't want emails coming out from a system with a PDF. So how do I share that effectively? I can just save this content. I can also save and print it. If you save and print it, make sure that you don't have, it's going to make me add someone in here real quick. And oh, I love demo accounts. So you can't have your pop-up blocker on. Just know that. You can't have your pop-up blocker on. It's going to pop it up in another page and you're going to have it. I saved it. So I'm going to close it out. And I can actually go into my files and you all have access to something called a home folder. In this home folder, you can upload a folder, a document, whatever you'd like. What's really cool is I can actually go in and I can say, hey, I want to share this PDF. It's going to upload that PDF and automatically put it in. It's going to take a quick minute, but then I can do a lot of stuff with it. So I can now digitally share this link. I can email it. I can share it on social media. So you know how Facebook doesn't let you share a PDF? It only lets you share JPEG images. You now can actually share a PDF because it's just the hyperlink. Hey, Be Social. I want to share it on Facebook. Here it's going to open up my Facebook and it's going to show that. Here it is. I also can highlight the link then. I'm going to just copy that link and I'm going to go back to the marketing piece I was creating. And I'm going to say the name contains winter. Here's my information. And I'm going to insert that link. So I can say, hey, here it is. Here's the URL. I want it to open in a new window. Okay, there it goes. It's attached to the email, which is super, super slick. Sarah, it saves in your My Saved content. So once I say, hey, I've done all that, and I click save, this My Saved content, which was under marketing, My Saved content, it clicks here. Brandy asked if everyone can hear. I believe everyone can hear. I'll ask a question though. And I'm fairly certain everyone can hear. Yep, everyone can hear. So if you cannot hear me, it's a setting on your computer. I'm not sure what that would be. So this is where all your saved content is. If your company has created content, it will be underneath the company content tab. You can go in, you can create property flyers, you can create emails, you can create whatever you'd like in here. You can email it out direct, or you can then go in and attach it to a campaign. So cool thing about marketing campaigns are the statistics. So I love statistics. I think it's a really, really good way to know if what you're doing works. I can go in, I can see my top events, I can see my top viewers. I can click on my top viewers right from here and edit or schedule follow-ups with them. To create a campaign, you simply click on plus campaign in the upper right-hand corner. You go in, you name your campaign. So I'm going to name it. We're going to call this Important Dates 2019. I'm going to choose my first event as, let's see, what's going to say? Happy Valentine's Day. And now I create my first event. When you're creating a subject line, please make sure that it's something that you would click on to open. If you wouldn't click on it to open, neither are your clients. They're your tribe, they're your people. You want to make sure that it would be something that you would open. You have the option here of sending on a date, which means you would just select the day. You can choose a month, which means you're going to send it on the first of whatever month that is. You can do a holiday or a birthday. So I could just choose Valentine's Day and it will know. You can do an interval. So how many days after the person is added to the campaign do you want this to go? Or you can do a day of the week. So, hey, I want to send this on Friday. Or I want to send it on a transaction date. So if you have a transaction, you want to send it a month after or 10 months after, whatever it is. So that is how you choose send using. You are not setting this up for the entire campaign. You have the ability to have each event send using a different style. So it can be a combination of interval and date. So if you have a new buyer campaign and you have a series of 6 emails that need to go out one day after they've been added, 4 days after they've been added, 5 days after they've been added, 12 days after they've been added. But then you also want open house information to go out on certain dates. You can add those events separately to the campaign and absolutely mix them. So I'm going to say, hey, send this out on Valentine's Day. And again, much like that blank content we did before, if you hover over something and it shows a pencil, you can edit it. Enjoy a 10% off your order at XYZ Coffee from me to celebrate. Show your phone this email to and then push OK. And then you could say, hey, greeting is show this email a wonderful day. And then I click OK. And then I click next. And it's going to ask me, do I want to add recipients? You can say, yes, I want to add them now, or you can add them later. So if you don't want to do it right now, you want to just build your content in your campaign, you can do that. Just click finish and say, I want to go to my personal campaigns. So that is that portion. So then I go ahead and you can go in and I'm going to say, okay, well, here is my important dates 2019. I'm going to open that campaign up and you can add additional events. And then you can also add recipients. I can add recipients by doing contact types, which we talked about underneath the contact. I can say, hey, I want my past employees and my prospects and my luxury buyers, or I want all of my contacts types. On the right-hand side, you're going to see a summary of what you're adding and click finish. Underneath that recipients tab, you can actually see who is added and when they were added. You can also select them all and delete them. I can go back to my events and see it here. So that's how you create a campaign. So we've done content and we've created campaigns. We're going to come back to marketing orders in a moment. What I really want to go through now is action plans. And this is how you plan your plan. So you click new to add an action plan and you add the title. It's a contacts or lead action plan, or it's an action plan you apply to your listings. I'm going to click save. Then I'm going to open up that action plan. And now I can add actions, including automatic system emails. You need to name your item in a way that you know what it is. So you can say you're going to send out an automatic email that is your welcome intro letter. What do you want the subject line of that email to be? And when do you want it to be due after? Action plans are always interval based. They are interval based so that you don't have to go in and recreate something for every single buyer based on the dates that they go out. So I'm going to say, hey, I want this to go out 2 days after the person is added to this action plan. Then do I want, after I add them, I want this to go out like an hour after, so it's not super automated, and I want to send it to the contact or lead. I can choose to email or blind copy myself, and then I can type the content in here, or I can search for the content. When I click search, it is going to link through to that marketing my saved content template. I want to do my client letter content, and here's the information. And click save. I can add as many actions as I would like. I can do follow-up requests. Follow-up requests are manual requests that you are going to make phone, email, voice content that you actually have to go in and do something. Add them to a campaign. So I can say the item name is important dates 2019. Whoop. Got 2018 and 2019 in there at once. And I'm going to go, hey, I want them to be on my client 2019 campaign. I want that to happen 5 days after they're added, and click save. So you are taking the information you have in your campaigns and your saved content, and you're adding it to action plans. If it is something that is an automatic email or add them to a campaign, it's automatically going to complete that for you on that date. The things that you have to do are the follow-up actions. Does that make sense? I'm guessing since no one asked the question that makes sense. So the last thing that I just want to quickly jump into are your listings. And you can actually go in, and if you have listings, you will see all your listings here. And you can easily go in and click on an action tab, and you can either tweet, Facebook, put it on Google+, Pinterest, or see the website. You also can go in and edit certain fields in your listing. Your listings are automatically feeding from your MLS. If you go in and you change information, the system will no longer update it from MLS for that section. You can add virtual tours, video tours, section tours. You can upload and change images here. When we pull from MLS, sometimes people want higher resolution photos on the website, so you can absolutely update your own. Just know that once you do that, it will not automatically update from the MLS. The other thing is that a lot of MLSs have rules about putting buyer or putting builder information and certain things you can and cannot do. You can change your description here if you would like. And once you do that, it will not override from the MLS. You also can get a seller story. So this is super cool because you can actually go in and create a seller portal. To do that, you're going to go into reports. You add the seller by typing their name into the box. And now they're attached to that. This will automatically send them an email that says, welcome to your portal. When they log into their portal, what they're going to see are the competition statistics based on this. You also can have all the reporting features. So let's see if I can get there. I'll let that load. And that means that when they go here to my portal, so do you see this? Here's my listing. Here's what it's listed at. Here's my MLS number. Here's all the details. Here's all the web impressions. Here's all my showing activity. Here's all my refers. So how are people getting to my listings? What is my search activity? It's all right here on a dashboard for your seller. Now, in order for showing information to show, your office does have to be using the showings feature. For showings, if you want to use the showings feature for just your use, you set up all your own showings, this is a great tool for you. You can go in and add showings here. There's more information on this on our YouTube channel. We've only got about 13 minutes left. I want to make sure that I have time for questions, so I'm not going to go through a lot of that. The last thing I want to show you with your listings really quickly is that you can easily print or email a flyer from here. To do that, you just click print or email flyer. You select the flyer, and it automatically pulls all the MLS information. So when I do that, it's just going to insert all the photos from the listing and all the information. You can edit it. So I can go in and I can say, okay, well, this is a great interior photo. This is a great interior photo. And I like the picture of the front of the house, but I actually know that this house has a great view. And now do you see that this property images button has shown up? And I can say, okay, well, I really think that this is the view that's going to sell the house. Or I want to show this. I want to show the great patio. Save. I wouldn't actually use this photo. I don't think it's not a very good one, but I want you to get the idea that you can change the photos. See, it automatically inserts it and crops it. You can choose and edit the information. So this comes from MLS, but if you don't want this to be the information, you can just go in and type your own information. You can change your information or your photo. It's all right here. Then you can save and email it. You can save and print it, or you can save and get the HTML code to put it on a website. I'm just going to click save, and I'm going to click close. You also can schedule your open houses. So I'm going to say, hey, this is held by Victoria. It's going to be held on this Saturday. It's going to be open from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. because that's when the soccer games are happening and that's right next to the soccer fields, and I'm adding it there. I can see all scheduled open houses underneath the open house tab. The last thing I want to share with you about your listings is if there are open houses, you have access to some great tools. So I can actually go into my open house tab. I can say, hey, here's the open house. I can say I need to go in and I want to see the sign-in page. Open houses, these sign-in pages will automatically link to the person who's hosting the open house, and people have access to enter in their information. The nice thing about this is that their information is confidential, so it's not sitting out on a clipboard for them to use. Choose or wait. And when am I looking to move? I'm going to say 3 to 6 months. Another really great tip is to say, hey, can you please put your information in? Also, if you're working with an agent, would you mind putting in that comment box your agent name so that I can follow up with them? Or if you want more information, exactly what information you want. Once they click sign in, it asks them, do they want to be texted the information, emailed the information, or are they just done? If they choose text, that text goes directly to their phone. If they choose email, that email goes directly to their phone. And then I can click finish and it automatically goes back to the home screen. If they don't hit finish, it automatically refreshes in about, I think it's like 25 seconds to go back to that main login screen. So it's a great way to digitally capture leads. And so those are some really good listing tools. I do want to just log in and show you what that text looks like. I'm just going to let that refresh really quick. And I'm going to show you in a Gmail account what that email looks like. So here's that property information. So here's what the email looks like. All the information about the listing. And here is the text. Thank you for stopping by. Click here to get more information about the property. So that is how you go in and the tools that you could use. I do have about 8 minutes left, and I do want to make sure that I'm answering questions that you can and getting you answers. Sarah, did that answer your question? I think it did. I showed you the screen of what that text looks like and what the email looks like. But if you have any questions, there is no such thing as a silly question. If you have a question, someone else probably does as well. And I want to make sure that we're getting your questions answered. So as we're finishing up with this, what I would really encourage you all to do is to take about 4 minutes right now and actually go onto your calendar and figure out when are you going to spend some time in the system. If you're not going in and actually scheduling some time on a weekly basis, then you're not going to use the system. So for me, working with the clients that I work with, I work best in the morning. It's just when I can get the most done. I'm most focused. So I spend about 3 hours a week talking to people and talking to my clients and making sure they're updated. So every day I have an hour set aside for talking to people, and I do it in smaller increments. So I schedule from about 9 to 9:30 every day to talk to clients, and then from about 11 to 11:30. So I get a bunch of stuff done with contacts, then I step away and I do some other things that I need to do for my business, and then I go back in for 30 minutes and talk to my contacts. That's what works for me, but it's on my calendar every day. If I don't put it on my calendar, it doesn't happen. And so really scheduling these things to set yourself up for success, I believe, is really important. Again, this is being recorded, and the goal of this is so that you can see the overview of the system and then go back in and schedule some time yourself. I think that spending a minimum of 30 minutes, if you're brand new to the system, makes sense. So 30 minutes at least to get in and do something. Whenever I'm working with a new system, I add myself to the system and I send myself some emails and I register myself for some open houses. And I just try to play with things to see how it works for me or for my husband, because he doesn't necessarily love technology. And so I like technology. It makes sense for me, but I'm also going to send it to him who doesn't love technology so that I can get a good balance of how that works. And practice it. Practice it before you send it out to your clients. These webinars are every Monday. So every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time, we are going to have a webinar. They're posted on the IQ Facebook page. You do have access to that. Let me just quick show you what that looks like. So you can actually type in realistic users if you're not a part of the group, and you can access this system. They're all underneath events. All the upcoming webinars are scheduled. And if you have any questions about how to do something specifically, I really do encourage you to ask questions here. We also have a YouTube channel, and that YouTube channel is called Realistic Support. And I can actually go in, let's see if I can go to my channel. So here is the YouTube channel, and all the webinars are also posted here. So I can go in, you can go into playlists. There's a whole bunch of playlists on all the other information. The webinars are where you can find all the detailed information. This webinar will be posted here. It will also be posted here, and you will also get an email with a link to watch it. So we're going to work on getting you the information, but really make sure you've scheduled some time to go in and work the system afterwards, because this is a lot of information in a very short amount of time. Are there any other questions? I do want to make sure I'm valuing your time. There are a lot of you on this training, and I want to thank you for coming in. I really appreciate you taking the time today to do that. You will also, I'm also going to email you out that picture of what that email looks like so you know what to watch for. It's super, super cool, and you're able to use it. Let's see. Oh, there are some questions. So Jamie asks, how do you get the capture page to open for an open house guest? It's not available until you schedule the open house. So once you schedule the open house, let me share my screen. Ooh, start screen share again. Once you schedule the open house, I want to share this screen. You can go in and you go to listings, open houses. And then from this screen, it will list all your company's open house. You find your name and you go to the actions tab. If you're the listing agent and you're hosting it, you have a few more options. So you can edit it, you can print the flyer, email agent, or sign-in page. If you're like Karen is just hosting for Kelly, and from here she can print the flyer, she can email the listing page, or she can access that sign-in page. But no, that open house sign-in page is not active until you have the open house scheduled. And yes, you can use that open house capture page on an iPad or a tablet. Yes, absolutely. That's how most people are using it. Oh, yeah, we can design a postcard. Absolutely. Let's do that. And IQ is fully mobily activated. So when you open it on your phone or on your tablet, it automatically adjusts. Sharon, there is not at this time a written tutorial for all of this. There are bits and pieces. We fortunately live in a day and age where you cannot break the system. So what I would really encourage you to do, Sharon, is to go in and watch a couple videos and then go in and practice those things, and then practice those things for like a week. And then the next week, choose 3 new things to do and do it that way. Yes, there will be another 101 for your assistant. We're going to do 101s every month. Next Monday is actually how to edit your web page 101. And I will show you the YouTube again. And do a postcard. So first, Here's the Facebook. It's Realistiq Users, REALISTIQ users. And the YouTube is Realistiq Support. If you can't find it, you can also add me. My name's Kelsey Anfinson Fulton, and I can add you to the page, no problem. I want to make sure you're getting the information. How to create a flyer or a postcard. So you have an option underneath marketing to go to My Orders. And you can actually go in now and order postcards through the system. So to create a new order, you click the plus order in the upper right-hand corner. So I went to marketing, My Orders, it opened up my orders dashboard, and then I'm going to add a new order. When I do that, it's going to pop up with all of the content that I have available. Agent promotion, there are just reduced. There are a neighborhood. I've got buyers for your neighborhood. Open house postcards. Once you go in and you've got the postcard you'd like, you just click select. And then you can insert a property by clicking select property. And when you do that, it's going to pull up all the available properties. So I can say, hey, I'm going to use this property. And it's going to automatically insert that. Well, and if I don't like the photos it's chosen, I can click. And again, much like a flyer, I can go to the property flyers and I can say, hey, I want to do this photo. And see how it automatically crops the size that you need? And I click save and it inserts that. This is a demo account as well, so please bear with me as this doesn't update. It will update for you. And then again, anything I have with that I hover with a pencil, I can change. It will put your company logo here, and I can change all of this information. Then what I'm going to do is click next. And when I do that, it's going to ask me, how many do I want to do? So do I want to send them out to my contacts? I can choose contact type. So I can say, hey, I want to send this out to all my buyers and all my relocation contacts. I also can say I want 100 delivered to the office, or I want a certain number targeted to an address. So it will automatically insert the address for the listing that you chose. But if you want to target them to a different area, so say perhaps you know that people are moving from this Ruby Drive or moving to this Ruby Drive neighborhood from a specific neighborhood, you could put that an address in that specific neighborhood in that address. And then you enter the quantity. The minimum quantity you can order is 100 postcards. You do have to order at least 100. And you can add any notes that you would like here. Then it's going to give you an order summary. So I'm going to say, it says, hey, 35 are being delivered to my office. There were no contacts in those contact types, so there's none there. And I'm going to do 100 that are targeted. And so my order total is $100. And then I can submit my order. The screen that I get next is going to ask for credit card information. So because it's a demo account, I can't put credit card information in. You're going to put in all your credit card information, and then it's going to process your order. It's going to show your payment is pending. Once your payment is processed, it will show process, and then your status will update here. Typically, these are taking between 10 and 14 business days to get out. So you do need to think ahead. We do anticipate that that will get faster as the software and we do more and more of them. Yeah, Jim, you can actually send a mailing from the system. Other questions? It is past 9 o'clock. I know that you all have a lot to do. I want to make sure that you're getting the information, but I also want to make sure that I'm being respectful of people's time. All right. If there are no other questions, I hope you all have a great day and we will talk to you soon.